Team Fortress 2 has had an incredibly rough decade. Not just a few years, but a decade. The last major update we really saw was probably Inferno, Jungle Inferno. That was what, 2016, 2017? It's been a long time. Yeah, we're almost at the 10-year mark. And since then, we've gotten no major updates. We've had huge botnet problems where you join any single lobby and there's going to be sniper bots everywhere popping off your head, spamming the chat in VCs with racial slurs. All the updates that were getting leaked, you know, the moon, the lunar update, and the heavy update, never coming out and being abandoned, and DMCA takedowns on fan projects. But it looks like things might finally be changing. I'm not going to say that they finally #fixed TF2, but I think they're finally #fixing TF2. I'm TastyGuava, and let's get into it. I'm just going to quickly go over what has happened over the years, kind of just break it down, what's next, and whether TF2 still has a future, which if you want me to give a quick little answer so you don't have to watch however long this video is going to be it does. And I'm pretty confident that as long as TF2 still has its community, which it seems like it will have regardless of how much abuse they get from horrible people and Valve, I don't think they're going anywhere. So obviously we know about Jungle Inferno, major update about a decade ago, and it probably didn't get as great of a response as Valve was hoping for. This is also around the time where we had the matchmaking changes with them wanting to add competitive to the game. This is where we also changed community servers and how official servers are found. And I don't know, I guess Valve's focus just kind of changed, considering they had Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and they had their competitive leagues. And TF2 didn't seem to be going in their direction. This is just my own speculation. I'm sure you guys all have different perspectives, or you guys know why, but this is just how it kind of goes in my head. TF2 didn't end up how Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive ended up, or CS2 as it's known now. But TF2 never died. It continued to have a incredible community, and for years we had no updates. And then we hit the lockdowns. I'm not going to say the word because it's going to flag the video and put these little pop-ups on the video talking about a certain event. We all know what I'm talking about, where we're all inside internationally for months, if not what, 2 years for a lot of us. And this was a great time for gaming, for technology companies. I mean, everyone's stock grew incredibly while we all ended up being poor at home. And TF2 had continued to not get updates, but that's where TF2 continued to grow, because, you know, we still have our yearly Halloween event and our, you know, Xmas event. But Valve's lack of continuous maintenance of the game ended up with botnets taking over the game, not being able to join any lobby, getting racial slurs put down your throat, and new players not being able to actually play the game. Because the big find a game button ends up with you being shot in 2 seconds of joining a match, and not being able to find any match where you can't actually play. And when any creators would go ahead and talk about it, they would get doxxed, which is insane. And that led us to May of 2022, where the community got together with #SaveTF2 to get Valve's attention. Put it everywhere. #SaveTF2. Please, Valve, I love this game. Can you fix the game? Bring us content again. Fix the bots. And it wasn't a completely clear message, is what people say, and that's probably why it didn't work. But thousands of players, tens of thousands of players, influencers, media outlets, even TF2 voice actors joined in. Valve responded with a single tweet. That's how long ago it was, because it was a tweet, not a post on X. It was a tweet on Twitter promising improvements, and nothing really happened. There was a complete lack of follow-up. Valve was completely silent. All they really did at the time was make it so free-to-play players couldn't say anything because there was racial slurs on a video game where it was a little cartoonish and children would be on it, and the media made Valve look pretty bad. and bots got slightly better for a little bit. And I kind of like to see Valve as a good guy in the gaming community, because when they work on Steam or do other things, they're incredible. They're actually top of the league. I mean, we can talk about the whole thing with ads in video games recently that Valve did with Steam, and how everyone's like, wow, Valve really cares. They're the one game company that cares. So I like to think that Valve maybe had been working in the background since 2022, and that's what some people have been saying, and have been working on it ever since. It just took a really long time because very few people were on the TF2 team. But we kind of went a year of nothing really happening and the game still being in an abysmal state, and that's when #FixTF2 happened in June of 2023. And unlike Save TF2, Fix TF2 was about one thing, and that was fix the fucking bots. Get rid of the bots. We don't want the bots in this game. We're spending millions of dollars, you know, as a community monthly, maybe every few days or weeks. I can't remember what the exact numbers are, but the amount of money that Valve makes from TF2 passively without creating any content for it for a decade is outstanding. When I say TF2 is a successful IP, I mean it is a mega successful IP, because the people who love TF2 adore TF2. And people were finally sick of it. How this was different from Save TF2 is that we wanted one thing: fix the bots. And the other thing was constant pressure, because we're still applying constant pressure. People still say #FixTF2 because it has not been fixed yet. It's not gonna be fixed. We're gonna keep putting this pressure on Valve, and anytime someone says or alludes to the fact that they fixed TF2, that was me. I was kind of like alluding to it as like clickbait, and people did not like it. And I apologize for that, because that was the wrong message I was sending. And with that also, there were petition to be signed and being mailed to Valve, and it was over 300,000 people, and these were getting manually reviewed and making sure they weren't bots and actual people and players. And Valve did do something. I'm not going to say they fixed TF2 because it is still in progress, but bots are so much better. There are bots in the game, mainly AFK and idle bots to get item drops, but overall, the botnets, the where you have to pay to play the game because every lobby is gonna be you getting sniper bot and you have to pay to not get instantly shot when you join, that's not really a thing anymore. There are still bots on occasion, but now when you do report these accounts on Steam, they actually do get banned within a day or two, and you encounter them rarely. Some people have told me it's like 1 in every 10 matches. Some people never see them. I've seen one super rarely. But again, they actually get removed because you don't get voted out of the match for reporting the bot, which is a crazy thing back then. It didn't lead to many other things getting fixed at the time, but then later down the line, later in 2023, Valve actually showed that they're willing to release something for the game. And that's when we finally got a community, update, a community, mod and content finally came to TF2 after ages, which is versus Saxton Hale. We all know versus Saxton Hale. VSH was and is a lot of fun. It's definitely not as popular as it was back then because, oh my god, Valve finally added a mode. But it's still incredible that we finally got this in the game. And it showed that Valve was willing to integrate community content, though that progress was pretty slow. And again, we haven't received a major update, although I like to see VSH as Valve finally added content. It's not like the heavy update that everyone's been anticipating for about a decade. And since then, we have been getting consistent updates for TF2. I think it would be wrong to say that Valve doesn't care about the game because we get TF2 updates every week or two. You'll see, fixes, VScript support, all these commands, a lot of stuff in the background to maintain the game. And it's no longer small update patches where local files have been moved around, which was an entire meme because at one point, all we got were little updates, which literally meant nothing about TF2 and competitive medals being updated. But now Valve actually maintains the game. It's kind of insane on a consistent basis. And with that, we do have VScript. VScript has been cool. VScript was a huge game changer for TF2 modding. It was also officially added in 2023, and it added a huge world of possibility to its scripting for community servers and custom game modes. It allows map creators and modders to script advanced mechanics without needing, external plugins. Enables things like custom boss fights, new weapons, fan-made game modes, and it added a lot of potential to the game. I think that's something that people kind of forget, Not only did we finally get bots to be in a steady pace, because it's not fixed, for bots to be maintained, we also got versus Saxton Hale, which showed Valve cared and was willing to bring back community content to the game. We're consistently getting quality of life updates and fixes for 10, 15-year-old bugs, which is crazy. We're getting optimizations constantly. We also got VScript, and that's pretty huge.
But I'm fairly certain you're right.
What was noise?
The sound of progress, my friend. Perfect. Kill me later. Where was I? There we go. Come on. Come on. Oh, that looks good.
We finally got the 7th comic, and it was pretty awesome. It concludes the arc of the comics, but it doesn't really serve as an ending for the game itself. It doesn't really, it gives closure to some of the character arcs, but doesn't hint at anything for the game's future. And it did leave many unanswered questions. And it did frustrate a lot of people, who hoped for more definitive resolution, but it's still incredible that this finally came out. I do think Valve has opportunity to do more. Maybe not an 8th comic. I think we're kind of all aware that this is the end. But I feel like they could do more projects because, again, the IP of Team Fortress 2 is so massive. They can do so much with this game. It's kind of insane. Yeah, 7th comic. That's also a major thing. And what happened just recently, which is so cool, is the TF2 SDK and the revival of mods. This goes alongside VScript because this just opens a huge can of worms. But if you guys aren't aware, and if you've played more than like 100, 200 hours on Team Fortress 2, you are probably most likely aware, there are mods for Team Fortress 2, just like how there are mods for Half-Life or Counter-Strike back in the day. Those mods, such as Team Fortress 2 Classic, which opens all these new maps and weapons and potential characters that could have been added to the game, and additional teams, it's a whole different world of Team Fortress 2. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it's for the average player, but I definitely recommend trying it once in a while, and it's also Open Fortress as well. However, these aren't officially published on Steam. They're not officially mods for the game. They use leaked code, which is illegal. Valve finally releases the full SDK, the source development kit, giving modders legal access to the game's engine and tools and not using leaked code. So, things like TF2 Classic and Open Fortress could, be within Steam, don't need separate launchers, don't need to be using reverse engineered code, don't need to be using leaked code. They can officially come to Steam as TF2 mods. This opens a huge, opportunity along with VScript for huge content coming to the Team Fortress 2 realm, mods. And this is also awesome because the reason Counter-Strike and Team Fortress, all this stuff exists and are so successful is because of modders. Valve is built on modding games and Valve acquiring these teams because they have such incredible talent. So I'm hoping, we get TF2 Classic, we get Open Fortress, but maybe another dozen or two really successful projects or little projects using Team Fortress 2. And Valve, they could acquire the teams or they can invite the teams to join Valve and continue working on Team Fortress 2 and their projects. I don't know, it's a huge opportunity. I think it could be awesome. Yeah, it's kind of insane that Valve finally added the SDK on top of VScript, on top of versus Saxton Hale, on top of the 7th comic, on top of, the bots. Valve is doing a much better job. There's a few people at Valve who care about Team Fortress 2, and they're the entire reason this is possible. And none of this would be possible without the push of the community, because TF2 player base is like no other player base. I don't think there's this much push from any other player base that can force a company to do something. Let's think about the biggest game in the world, Minecraft. God, Mojang is such a pain in the butt, dev. Don't even. I should release a rant, an hour-long rant of everything I hate about Mojang. God. Now, continuing with this, unfortunately, heavy update probably isn't coming anytime soon. I completely doubt it, or the lunar update, whatever it's called, the moon something lunar. I don't know. And the whole thing about female characters in TF2. I don't know what that was about. That was a whole leak for a while. Most updates have been seasonal events or patches or minor fixes, but we're continuing to get quality of life updates on a constant basis, bug fixes. I don't see a major balancing update coming anytime soon either, or them really trying to fix the competitive space. Although there is definitely a competitive space in TF2, there's a lot of people who host competitive spaces, and it did outlive the Overwatch League. So I think if Valve really does care to, they could potentially, you know, with all this push, with VScript, with the community mods, if they do maybe ever release a heavy update and the lunar update and whatever content's been hiding in the background, they could bring a competitive scene. And I know some of you have talked to me about my suggestions for them cleaning up the game, fixing the code up, and just releasing it on modern consoles and on mobile and whatever, just to get more players for casual. I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm gonna keep saying they should probably, after those updates, do like a major update, like, hey, crossplay's out. I know TF2 came out on 360 and PS3. Dude, that was over a decade ago. Stop talking about that, please. I don't know. I feel like Valve has potential to make this IP 10 times bigger for themselves and for the whole community. I don't know. I feel like it's deserved after so much money, time, and, you know, care that the community has put into the game. I don't know. I feel like crossplay would be a great idea on top of eventually making heavy update and lunar update and whatever else. Yeah, I don't think heavy update's coming out anytime soon. And it seems less and less likely with every year, especially because TF2 right now is being maintained by a very small group of people. So very passionate, very cool, you know, small group of people. On top of that, I want to personally thank Tyler McVicker. I don't think TF2 is going to die as long as Tyler McVicker. I don't think TF2 is going to die anytime soon with them constantly talking about his data mining, finding a string, and making a whole thing out of it. And I will say, personally, I love Tyler because he's part of the reason why I still have had hope for TF2. That being said, he has been right. Half-Life Alex and some other stuff. Even though everyone called him crazy, but I think he deserves that that appreciation and that thank you. I don't know. I feel like with leaks and whatever, it's always gonna be relevant. TF2 will always stay relevant, and SFM, you know, source filmmaker videos are always gonna keep TF2 in the loop. The fact that the 7th comic finally came out is definitely gonna be a point of discussion for a while. And if we ever do get a major update, I mean, that'd be huge. But I feel like that's gonna be a long time. Now overall, I feel like the SDK release and the VScript are major things, or the major things that it's gonna take a while to see what really comes from it. But right now is the best time for modders and custom servers. Versus Saxton Hale proved that Valve does listen occasionally. The bot crisis is so much better, so Valve is working on it. They are putting some resources to, you know, clean up this game, and, you know, seeing bots on a pretty rare occasion, and when you report them, they do get banned within a few days. But they're still rampant. You know, bots shouldn't be in any single match that you're in. And there are definitely still bots because the player numbers are sometimes definitely inflated because of, you know, item drops or item farms. But there are definitely players on the game. And I don't know, I feel like VScript and SDK are going to make this 10 times better. I don't think TF2 had a major revival, but it's not dead either. There's more tools and ability now than ever. I feel like it's more stable than it has been in a really long time, and things are really looking up for the game. You know, lack of major updates and answer story questions, and Valve's priorities are still definitely elsewhere. TF2 is going to continue to live on, not because of Valve, but because of the community. That's something I'm going to keep pushing on, is that Valve is built by their community, and the community still supports them because they do release incredible things on occasion. I mean, all of their games are great except for Artifact, which I still think they should go back and fix it up, and Dota Underlords. You know, I feel like Valve should really revisit all of their IPs, clean them up, and do what the community says to do, and they'd be 10 times more successful, and Valve ends up making money from it. That being said, Valve is fixing TF2. It's gonna take time. There's only a few people who are really working part-time hours on the game instead of the whole entirety of Valve. Part of that's because of how Valve is structured, but part of the reason TF2 exists is because of how Valve is structured. I'm not a day one TF2 player. I don't have Australians. I don't know all the lore off the top of my head, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of you, because TF2 was kind of the gateway of me discovering games outside of Minecraft, and that made me discover a whole group of friends and have so much fun over the years, because I'm one of those people who used to be inside all day and be super scared to even say hi to anyone. And I think I'm pretty comfortable now, considering I'm uploading videos and I'm going to get a lot of shit because maybe what I said wasn't correct, or maybe I didn't do enough research, or maybe my opinion's wrong, or whatever. I don't know. But TF2 definitely gave me a lot of fun and a lot of memories, and I'm still shit at it. But that's fine, because I don't think it's meant to be a competitive game. I think Team Fortress 2 is meant to be Team Fortress 2, and that's what the community makes out of it. I'm very excited to see how Valve slowly maintains the game over the years. Who knows? Maybe for the 20th anniversary, we get the heavy update and the lunar update. I don't know why I keep mentioning the lunar update. 90% of you forgot that was like a whole leak and everything. But yeah, maybe we finally get the heavy update and we get the whole optimize the game, and I don't know, fucking they acquire some of the modded teams, and it comes to console and it hits 1 million concurrent players. I don't know, I feel like Team Fortress 2 has that ability. But at the end of the day, as long as we keep getting source filmmaker films, we keep getting these mods, we keep getting cool community made content, then, you know, we have this incredible player base. Team Fortress 2 is as alive as ever. I don't think it's going anywhere. It outlived Overwatch. Probably gonna outlive a lot of other games. It has outlived a lot of other games that have had a lot more support from their creators. So yeah, thank you to the entire Team Fortress 2 community. And again, keep that pressure on Valve, because they're still hashtag fixing TF2. Hasn't been fixed yet. But yeah, at least it's kind of looking up.